COVID-19 happened, and that opened people's eyes even more.
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
was the first thing that disappeared off the shelves globally? Not just here in South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
globally.
Mm-hmm.
Chickpeas,
Yeah.
lentils,
Yeah. Yeah.
non-perishable goods, or
Yeah.
things in cans that they could quickly eat that were
Yeah.
nutritious, full of protein. All of a sudden, all of that avidya,
Yeah.
not knowing,
Yeah.
all of a sudden they had vidya. They were like, oh my goodness, I remember lentils are high in
Yeah, yeah,
protein. I read
exactly.
that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
somewhere.
This is good for
Like,
me. This is good for me. Yeah. No,
I've
it's
been asked so
true.
many times, is rice vegan? I'm like, are you kidding? Can I
Yeah.
eat rice? Yes, I can eat rice.
Yes, rice is fine. Rice is just fine, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's also the thing. Like you do have a lot. I think a lot of people also say like this thing. Like my boyfriend and I were talking about this as well. Like that so many people say when they're traveling, like, yeah, it's so hard when I'm traveling, and then they say that they're in India or they're in Africa. I'm like, dude, it's like rice everywhere, rice and veggies everywhere. Like, what do you mean? It's difficult to to stick to your veganism when you're traveling. When I mean, like, especially there is so much for us to still have. Like I think people make it too complicated. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like a beautiful dal, so
Yeah.
nutritious and tasty, and
Because
yeah,
what
you
is
don't make it
your
complicated.
what's your inspiration for the kind kitchen? Like, do you go a specific direction when you're because you're creating a menu with the food, or like what inspires you?
So definitely one of the first things that inspired me was, how do I take a traditional dish that's meat and turn it,
Hmm.
veganize it, right? And I saw recently, Badass Vegan and his friends have come up with a similar cookbook that's doing the rounds, or going to start doing the rounds in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely been one of my go-tos from day one, because coming from a culture, I was talking about South Africans, not just of color, but Afrikaans South Africans, English-speaking South Africans like myself. We all come from a culture of eating meat,
Mm-hmm.
and like a potluck pie, or a chicken pie. How do we replicate that? How do we change that and make someone enjoy those flavors from
Mm-hmm.
a vegan point of view? That's definitely been my inspiration from day one, because I realized the quickest way that I could get a lot of people understanding what veganism is,
Mm-hmm.
plant-based food was, when I started the Kind Kitchen. Because when I started, there were only two vegan restaurants in Cape Town, and now we're
Hmm.
past that. So
Yeah.
it's become easier. But that was definitely my beginning strategy. And as we're progressing, it's becoming more whole food based.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The quinoa, and showing people, how do you actually make something like the root of celery, the celeriac plant. What can you do with this? Well, you can actually turn it into a fake
Mm-hmm.
fish food, or take beetroot, cut that nice and thin, or bake it and steam it and all those good things. And you can make like a roast beef bagel,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
something to that effect, and it's so nutritious. And what processing has it gone through? Not a lot. It's been
Yeah.
cooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, soya and all of that's good, and you can get deli cuts of soy meat, which is great for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you could get to the basics, use that vegetable and turn it into something that people understand to be kind of like that thing they grew up enjoying, like roast beef,
Mm-hmm.
you're winning them quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also the way of like introducing people by something that they know. And then sometimes might not even notice, like, oh, am I eating the vegan version of that? Like, I
Yeah,
think, I mean, many times people have been fooled and
yeah,
thinking, like, I mean, yeah, that happened to me. Oh, because it's the same. Of course, my cafe was in Portugal, and a lot of people in Portugal are just used to their Portuguese traditional meat stuff. And it was funny sometimes to sort of see their reaction, or thinking that they were eating cheese when they're eating my cheese, which is of course vegan cheese, and not knowing. And it's a very smart strategy to have, I think, definitely.
yeah. And
Introducing.
what was that cheese made from?
Yeah, my cheese was always just, cashew based or almond based. And, and there's some of the sauces that I made was just, some flour and yeast. And this one lady thinking that she was eating this traditional like pasta cheese sauce. And she was like, no, but this is the way I make it at home. And I was like, well, probably not. No, really, like it's like I make it with this and this and this. And then she was so surprised when I showed her like the ingredients. She's like, huh? Like, what are you even saying? So it's definitely, yeah, but I think it's funny it's a great way of learning for us as well as chefs, like we get so creative, this way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, using carrots and potatoes and some nutritional yeast, and voila, you've almost got a great cheese sauce. You add more parts to that and it's delicious.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. And last two questions. I definitely have had the ups and downs, but what is it like for you to run your own business? Like, did you say that you before this had your own yoga studio?
Yeah.
So is this the second time that you're pushing yourself to have your own business?
I think it's number 4 now.
Number 4 now. Wow. Okay.
I think Richard Branson got to number 7 before it actually started. So maybe I've got 3 more.
Hey, 3 more to go. 3 more to go, Jay. But how do you feel about it?
There's so many downs that come with running a business.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like anything, and that's the one thing that we were taught as yoga teachers and yoga students. It's like a vinyasa, right? It's like the ups and the downs, the sun coming up, the sun going down, the moon rising, moon going down. It's that flow, that constant flow. Mm-hmm. And if you realize and understand that it's all a flow, there will be the ups and downs, and in that crest of the wave, then you make peace with it, and you just realize, like right now, I think we're starting to come out of the low. I think. I'm very positive that this is starting to happen at least here in Cape Town. I know you guys, as we speak right now in October 2020, it's quite tough again in Europe. And it's very sad to hear, we're approaching summer, so the heat's obviously killing off a lot more of COVID. But the issues that you face daily with running a business from a money point of view is enough to make you want to stop. How do you run a business? Because a lot of the times, I'm sure both of us had a similar upbringing and education where they taught you the basics: math, science, geography. They never teach you how to run a business in school, and I feel like that's where they let you down in school. Like they really let you down. Like I studied art as well, and art was one of the greatest things that I learned because it taught you to think differently. So I feel like that's something that should start happening more in the world of studies in school from a young age. And their business is not an easy thing. If it was that easy, my mom always says this, if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. And not everyone is running their own business. They're in a corporation. Most people are in a corporation, and maybe they have a sideline job until that sideline picks up, and then they leave, Yeah. So I'm not saying that either way is the best way. You've got to do what works for you. Yeah. Some days I really thought, maybe I should just go and take
I should just be a plumber.
Yeah, I should just be go back and be a chef in some cafe here, and let the daily running issues be someone else's problem. But it's definitely taught me a lot, and taught me a lot about my own self and my self-worth and my mental state, how to keep it together. The yoga teachings have helped me how to keep it together from point of view, because it can be very stressful, and you just resort to, maybe saying unkind things a lot of the times, or being unkind to yourself and other people. So I think running a business is very stressful, very difficult, but it has its good parts.
Yeah, absolutely. And my last question would be, but because we kind of already know that what's going to happen for you, because you have exciting things coming your way, being a father to be anytime soon. But what is your vision for the future for the Kind Kitchen and then you as well? Like, how do you see yourself like out of these freaking COVID times in the next 10 years? Tell us.
So what I would really want to happen for the Kind Kitchen, and this is something I'm pushing very hard on at the moment, is to create a lot more of our own product that doesn't necessarily rival the Beyond and the Impossibles, because Impossible is not in South Africa at the moment. It's only Beyond Meat. And I really admire Beyond Meat. I don't want to take anything away from what I'm saying here, but every country, and I'm sure it's the same in Holland and where you live, people want to support local. They enjoy the aspect of an international brand, but a lot of the times they also want to support local, support local artists and entrepreneurs. And people need to realize that it doesn't matter what career you're in, you're an artist. It takes art to be a chartered accountant. It takes art to be a musician. It takes art to be a chef. Whatever you're doing is an art form, right? Because if it wasn't, anybody could do that. And I would really love to be a musician and a rock star, but I really can't. I've tried so hard. This is the closest I've gotten to being a rock star. And that's not my ego talking. I just always love that aspect. I really admire musicians because to pick up a guitar and just make music is wow, you know?
Yeah.
So what I can give back to the world is taking what I have, which I've been given, to make food that people enjoy. And that, what I realized in COVID-19 is that restaurants possibly won't be overly accessible going forward into our future in the next 10 years. Who knows? Let's hope that's not the case. But maybe staying at home is more of the thing, and people wanting to cook at home, which is great, right? Cooking some meals at home with your family is how it should be. And for too long now, it's been different. People get takeout, and they get all of these other things that aren't necessarily overly nutritious for them. So teaching the market here in South Africa about nutrition through a vegan diet, plant-based diet, that's what I can offer. That's my skill. That's what I have, one of my skills. So that's what I foresee for the Kind Kitchen, is to do these things that promote a healthier way of life.
Yeah, amazing.
And how we do that is hopefully through a version of retail, and maybe one more restaurant in a different part of South Africa. I'm not sure. But what I do know is what we're starting to create here, people enjoy. So we need to put that in a version that's accessible, that's sustainable. And also when I say accessible, not the high prices that plant-based living comes with a lot of the times. It can be quite expensive, you know. It can be a premium, especially if you're living on $1 a day. Like, that's not. So how do we use what's available and make it accessible and show people this is a good way to live?
Yeah.
That's
awesome. That's amazing. And then there's a little one coming as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, that will just come naturally with, you know, it's going to be a boy. So Flynn is going to be his name. Little Flynn.
So cool.
He will grow up with me giving him this information, and his mom's also vegan. So, you know, as with you and I, we rebelled against our parents.
Everything, yeah. You know? Let's see what Flynn thinks about it all.
Oh my goodness, I think I might just die if he decides when he's old enough to decide, like, he doesn't want to eat a vegan lifestyle. He wants to eat meat. Yeah. I think I might just
kill a cow on his wedding, that kind of stuff.
If that day ever comes, it will be an interesting day.
It will be an interesting day.
And I'll just deal with it then. But it's
exactly. When is Flynn arriving?
The 1st of December at this point.
What? I'm from the 3rd of December. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Get ready for some Sagittarius action. Oh my God. Yeah. They are a handful.
Well, you know, all the Sagittarians that I know, yourself, Jules Fabre, a lot of my cousin, who's one of my best friends.
Yeah, we're good people.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
It's so fast, coming along so fast. I'm really, really happy for you, and I'm excited because the world needs more activists and amazing people. And I can't imagine that Flynn wouldn't be as great and amazing as